The notification pinged relentlessly on Eliana's phone. Before she could even process it, the video was everywhere. Her lips locked with Dallas in a kiss that no director had called for, captured in raw, unscripted truth, right after the camera stopped rolling on the set of Echoes of the Heart. Eliana Hayes stared at the screen in her sleek Los Angeles apartment, her heart hammering against her ribs as the clip played on loop across every social media platform. The grainy footage showed her pulling Dallas closer, fingers tangled in blonde hair, the kind of kiss that spoke of years of buried longing rather than scripted passion. Comments flooded in. Is this for real? America's sweetheart is gay? Fake or the best acting ever? Within minutes it had millions of views, and her carefully curated image as the girl-next-door actress from a good Midwestern family was crumbling. She had known the risks. Filming a lesbian romance movie with Dallas Reed of all people was playing with fire. But the script had called for it, the chemistry was undeniable. And in that moment between takes the walls had come down. Now the world knew, or at least suspected, what she had spent a decade hiding. Her phone buzzed again, her mother's name flashing on the screen. Eliana let it go to voicemail, sinking onto the couch as memories crashed over her like waves. It had started innocently enough back in college at Northwestern in the quiet suburbs of Chicago. She and Dallas had been roommates, then best friends, then something more during late-night study sessions, and whispered confessions under dorm blankets. "I think I'm falling for you," Dallas had said one rainy evening, her blue eyes earnest and vulnerable. Eliana remembered the warmth of that first tentative kiss, how right it felt, how the world had narrowed to just the two of them. For months they lived in their secret bubble, stealing moments between classes, dreaming of a future where love didn't have to be hidden. But then the call from home changed everything. Her father, a strict pastor in their small Illinois town, had somehow gotten wind of rumors. "This isn't you, Eliana," her mother had sobbed over the phone. "God has a plan for you, a husband, a family. Don't throw your life away for confusion." The pressure mounted with every conversation. Threats of cutting her off financially, prayers at family dinners, the shame that would fall on her younger siblings if word spread in their conservative community. The breaking point came during spring break. Dallas had driven her home hoping for some acknowledgement, but Eliana had panicked. In the driveway of her childhood home with her parents watching from the window, she had turned to Dallas and said the words that still haunted her. "This was a mistake. I'm not like that. I can't do this to my family. Please just forget it ever happened." She had watched the light die in Dallas's eyes, the hurt carving deep lines that no apology could erase. Dallas had driven away without a word, and Eliana had thrown herself into dating men, publicly building the perfect straight image that launched her acting career. Now 10 years later, fate had thrown them together again on this film. The director had raved about their natural chemistry, unaware of the history. Eliana had told herself it was just professional, but seeing Dallas every day had reopened old wounds. The kiss scene had been electric, and afterward, in the dimly lit corner of the set away from prying eyes, she had given in once more. The video proved it. And now the consequences were unfolding faster than she could control. A text from her agent popped up. "Call me now. Sponsors are pulling out. This is a PR nightmare." Eliana buried her face in her hands, the weight of her past denial pressing down harder than ever. The secret was out, and it was about to drag everyone she loved into the storm. Outside her window, the Los Angeles skyline glittered indifferently while her phone continued to vibrate with notifications from old classmates, tabloid reporters, and even a few supportive fans. She scrolled through the trending hashtag #ElianaKissLeak, her stomach twisting at every cruel comment calling her a fraud, a liar, a disgrace to family values. How had one impulsive moment after years of careful control spiraled into this? She stood up, pacing the room, her bare feet cold on the marble floor. The apartment she had bought with her first big paycheck suddenly felt too big, too empty. Pictures on the walls showed her smiling beside male co-stars at red carpet events, the perfect heterosexual narrative she had sold to the world. Now it was all unraveling, and the only person who truly knew the real her was Dallas, the woman she had pushed away to protect a family that might never forgive her. Another call came through, this time from the studio head. Eliana answered with a shaky voice, knowing the conversation would only make things worse. "We need you in the office first thing tomorrow," the executive said curtly. "Damage control starts now. And bring your co-star if you can find her." The line went dead before Eliana could respond. She sank back onto the couch, replaying the video one more time, pausing on the frame where Dallas's hand rested gently on her cheek. The tenderness in that touch wasn't acting. It was real. It had always been real. And now the entire country was watching her most private truth play out in high definition. The past she had buried so deep was clawing its way back, demanding to be faced, and Eliana wasn't sure she had the strength to meet it head-on. The night stretched on with more alerts, more messages, more judgment pouring in. By dawn the story had made national news, and Eliana knew her carefully constructed life was over. The only question left was whether she could survive the fallout, or if the guilt from that long-ago driveway goodbye would finally break her completely. By morning the story had exploded beyond social media and into every morning show. Eliana sat in her agent's office downtown Los Angeles, the blinds drawn against the flashing cameras outside. Her agent Marcus paced the room, coffee in hand, muttering about spin strategies. "We can say it was method acting," he suggested for the third time, "but the footage is too clear, too intimate. People aren't buying the denial angle." Eliana barely heard him, her mind drifting back again to that college spring break, the one that had shattered everything. After she had sent Dallas away, she had returned to the house where her parents waited with open arms and closed minds. They never asked for details, but the relief in their eyes was palpable. "You're back on the right path," her father had said, clapping her on the shoulder. "God will bless you for this choice." She had nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat, and thrown herself into theater classes, dating the safe boys her church group approved. Each new relationship felt like wearing someone else's skin, but the praise from home kept her going. By graduation she had landed her first small role in a network drama, and the lie became her armor. Dallas had moved to Los Angeles for film school, and Eliana had avoided every alumni event, every mutual friend update, until the casting call for Echoes of the Heart arrived with Dallas's name attached as the lead opposite her. Fate or punishment, Eliana wasn't sure. On the first day of rehearsals their eyes had met across the soundstage, and the years melted away. Dallas had smiled, politely professional, but the old pain lingered in her gaze. They kept it civil through table reads, but late-night rewrites turned into shared dinners, turned into confessions over wine. "I never stopped loving you," Dallas had whispered one evening in Eliana's trailer. "And I know you didn't either." Eliana had resisted at first, but the pull was too strong. Their secret rekindled slowly, stolen kisses in makeup chairs, whispered promises between takes. The scripted love story on screen mirrored their real one too perfectly, and last night after wrapping the big kiss scene the emotion had spilled over. They had lingered in the shadows, thinking the crew had packed up. One hidden camera had caught it all. Marcus snapped his fingers, bringing her back. Earth to Eliana. "We need a statement by noon. Something about artistic expression and privacy." She shook her head. "No more lies, Marcus." The words surprised even her. "The video is real. Dallas and I, we have history." He stared at her like she had lost her mind. "History or not, the sponsors are dropping like flies. Your family called me 3 times already. Your father wants you on the next plane to Illinois to make this right in person." Eliana's stomach dropped. The thought of facing her parents now with the evidence splashed across every screen made her want to disappear. She excused herself, stepping into the hallway, where she dialed Dallas's number with trembling fingers. It went straight to voicemail. "Hey, it's me. We need to talk. Please." Back in the apartment later that afternoon, Eliana watched the news coverage on mute. Experts debated whether her career was salvageable while clips of her old interviews played. The ones where she had laughed off rumors about her sexuality, calling them silly. The hypocrisy stung. A knock at the door startled her. She opened it to find Dallas standing there, sunglasses on, hoodie pulled low. The same beautiful blonde who had once driven away in tears now looked exhausted but determined. "We can't hide anymore, Eliana," she said, stepping inside. "The world already knows. The question is, what are we going to do about it?" They sat on the couch, the silence heavy. Eliana reached for Dallas's hand, the touch sending familiar warmth through her. "I was so scared back then," she whispered. "My family, they made it sound like choosing you meant losing everything." Dallas squeezed her fingers. "I know. But running away didn't make the love disappear. It just made the pain last longer. Now with everything out, maybe this is our second chance. Or maybe it's the end." Before Eliana could answer, her phone rang again. This time it was her younger brother. "Sis, Mom and Dad are on their way to LA. They saw the video. Dad's furious. You need to fix this before it destroys the family name." The call ended and Eliana looked at Dallas, the weight of 2 worlds colliding, pressing down. The past she had denied was no longer buried, and the present demanded she finally choose. But with her family en route and the public baying for answers, the choice felt impossible. The airport arrival hall buzzed with tension as Eliana waited for her parents. She had begged them not to come, but her father had insisted on a face-to-face intervention. Dallas had offered to stay away for now, giving Eliana space to handle the first wave alone. The decision felt like another betrayal, yet Eliana knew facing her family without Dallas present was the only way to keep the confrontation from exploding immediately. Her mother emerged first, eyes red-rimmed, clutching a Bible like a shield. Her father followed, jaw set in the same stern line Eliana remembered from childhood sermons. They hugged her stiffly in the private car. She had arranged the silence thick until they reached her apartment. Inside, her mother broke first. "How could you, Eliana? After everything we taught you, after all the prayers. That woman, that Dallas person. Is this what your fame has done to you? Turned you into someone we don't recognize?" Eliana stood by the window overlooking the city, her back to them. "It's not the fame, Mom. It was always there. I just hid it because I was terrified of disappointing you. Remember college? The way you cried on the phone? The way Dad threatened to disown me if I didn't come home straight? I chose the family over my heart, and I've regretted it every single day since." Her father slammed his hand on the table. "Regret doesn't change what's right. This lifestyle goes against everything we believe. The church, the community, they're all watching. Your sister is getting married next month. Do you want to ruin her day with this scandal?" The words cut deep, echoing the same arguments from a decade ago. Eliana turned to face them, tears threatening. "I love her, Dad. Dallas. I always have. Denying it didn't make it go away. It just made me miserable. And now the whole world knows, and instead of supporting me, you're worried about appearances." Her mother reached for her hand but pulled back at the last second. "We do love you, honey. That's why we're here. To pray with you, to help you find the right path again. Come home with us. Leave this Hollywood nonsense behind." Eliana shook her head, the guilt twisting like a knife. "I can't. Not anymore. The movie is still filming in Dallas. She's part of my life now, whether you accept it or not." The argument stretched for hours, accusations flying, flashbacks to family dinners where her sexuality had been prayed away. By evening, her parents left for their hotel, promising to return the next day with their pastor friend. Eliana collapsed onto the bed, exhausted but strangely lighter. Speaking the truth out loud for the first time in years had cracked something open inside her. Later that night, Dallas texted, "How did it go?" Eliana replied honestly, "Painful, but necessary. Can we meet tomorrow after the press conference the studio scheduled? I need to see you." The reply came quickly, "I'll be there. No more hiding." The next morning, the press conference was a circus. Eliana stood at the podium, Dallas beside her for the first time publicly. Flashes popped, questions flew. Is this relationship real? How long has it been going on? What do you say to fans who feel betrayed? Eliana took a deep breath. Yes, it's real. Dallas and I have a history that goes back years. I denied it once because of family pressure, but I'm not denying it anymore. Love isn't something to be ashamed of. The room erupted. Dallas squeezed her hand under the table, the small gesture grounding her. But as they left the building, Eliana's phone lit up with messages from her siblings, her agent, and worst of all, a leaked audio from her parents' hotel room where her father called her choices an abomination. The judgment wasn't over. It was just beginning. The confrontation with Dallas came later that afternoon in the quiet of Eliana's trailer on the now closed set. The studio had halted production amid the scandal, but the space still smelled of fresh paint and coffee. Dallas arrived wearing the same hoodie from the night before, her eyes guarded. You stood up there and claimed me, Eliana, she said, voice steady but edged with old hurt. But where was that courage 10 years ago when you left me in your parents' driveway like I was some dirty secret? Eliana flinched, the memory sharp. I was 22 and terrified. My whole world was built on their approval. I thought if I chose you I'd lose everything. My family, my future, my faith even. Dallas paced the small space. And what about my future? I spent years wondering what I did wrong. I dated men I didn't love, trying to forget you. Then this movie lands in my lap and suddenly you're back acting like the past never happened. Until the video forced your hand. The words landed like blows. Eliana stepped closer, reaching out but stopping short. You're right. I was a coward. I hurt you deeply and I've carried that guilt every day. But this leak, it's not how I wanted to tell the world. I wanted to choose you on my terms, not because the internet made me. Dallas stopped pacing, her shoulders slumping. Then choose me now. Not for the cameras, not for redemption. For us. They talked for hours, peeling back layers of resentment and love. Eliana shared stories of lonely nights in hotel rooms, scrolling through Dallas's social media from afar. Dallas admitted she had almost turned down the role, but something pulled her back. The conversation turned tender, eventually leading to a quiet embrace, the kind that healed more than it ignited. But peace was short-lived. A knock at the trailer door revealed Eliana's brother standing there unannounced. He had flown in to support their parents and now confronted them both. Sis, this isn't you. That woman is confusing you. Come home. Pray with us. Eliana stood taller, Dallas at her side. This is me. And Dallas isn't confusing me. She's the only one who ever saw the real me. If you can't accept that, then maybe it's time our family learned to love unconditionally or not at all. Her brother left angry, but the stand had been taken. That night Eliana and Dallas walked along the beach near Malibu, the waves crashing in rhythm with their tentative steps forward. For the first time in years, Eliana felt the chains of denial loosening. Yet the moral weight of breaking her family's heart and the public backlash still loomed, threatening to pull her under. Social media turned vicious overnight. Hashtags trended with calls for boycotts of Eliana's past films, while conservative groups picketed the studio gates. Eliana scrolled through the hate in her apartment, Dallas asleep beside her, the sight of death threats and slurs making her physically ill. How could love spark so much venom? Her agent called with worse news. 2 major brands have dropped you entirely. The network is reconsidering your upcoming series. And your family, they're doing interviews saying you're under the influence of Hollywood corruption. The guilt crashed over her again. She slipped out to the balcony, the cool night air doing little to calm the storm inside. Memories flashed: childhood church picnics, her father's proud smile when she sang in the choir, her mother's homemade pies after Sunday service. All of it built on the foundation she was now shattering. Was her happiness worth their pain? Dallas joined her, wrapping a blanket around them both. You don't have to carry this alone anymore. But Eliana pulled away slightly. What if they're right? What if I'm selfish for choosing this? The argument that followed was raw. Dallas accused her of still hiding behind guilt. Eliana countered that Dallas couldn't understand the lifelong conditioning. They parted angry for the first time since the leak, Eliana driving aimlessly through Los Angeles, until she ended up at the old Northwestern Alumni Center, a place she hadn't visited in years. Sitting on a bench, she let the tears come. The past and present blurred until she could almost see her younger self walking hand in hand with Dallas across the quad. The denial had cost her so much time, joy, authenticity. Now the community she once feared was judging her openly, and the moral conflict tore at her soul. By morning she returned to find Dallas waiting with coffee and quiet resolve. I shouldn't have pushed so hard. This is your journey too. But I'm here whatever you decide. The day brought more confrontations. A tearful call from her sister begging her to reconsider, a public statement from her church condemning her choices. Each blow chipped away at Eliana's defenses until she reached a breaking point in the shower, sobbing under the spray. The awakening was painful but undeniable. She could no longer live half a life. The final press event was set in a neutral downtown venue packed with reporters and supporters alike. Eliana stood at the podium, Dallas's hand in hers openly this time. The room hushed as she spoke, her voice steady despite the nerves. I spent years denying who I am to protect the people I love. I hurt the woman standing beside me and I hurt myself. The leaked video forced the truth into the light, but it was always there. Today I choose honesty. I choose love. I choose Dallas. If that means losing sponsors or disappointing my family, I accept it, because living a lie is no longer an option. Applause mixed with boos, but Eliana kept going, detailing the family pressure, the guilt, the slow path to self-acceptance. Dallas spoke next, her words simple and powerful. Love isn't a choice we make once. It's a choice we make every day. And today I'm choosing her again. Afterward they faced her family one last time in a private room. Tears flowed, accusations softened into reluctant understanding. Her mother hugged her tightly, whispering, maybe we were wrong to push so hard. Her father remained distant, but the door to healing had cracked open. Months later, filming resumed, the movie now infused with authentic emotion. Eliana and Dallas walked red carpets openly, their relationship a beacon for others. The pain hadn't vanished, but the redemption felt earned in every shared sunrise, every honest conversation. The journey had been devastating yet transformative, proving that secrets buried deep could still bloom when finally exposed to light. True or false? Denying your true love to please family is ever truly justified if it means living with lifelong regret?